Do you often get cracking or shattering when you have your dip nails? Let me show you why that is and some ways that you can actually prevent that. So, right here in this clip, I am showing you a crack. My nails this particular week went through a lot of punishment. And as a result of that, I shattered some of my nails and also cracked some of my nails just because the activities that I was doing in the course of that particular week were very strenuous and it definitely impacted my nails. There's a difference between cracking, chipping, and shattering your nails. They're different things. So when you are shattering your nails, if you see that shattered pattern on your nails, that's 8 times out of 10. That's because the top coat, the resin top coat, has been compromised. And as such, it's shattered. The integrity is no longer there. Right now, you can sort of see, and I'm zooming in, it may be a little faint, but you can kind of see that those little fine lines, that's shattering. Whereas that right there is a crack. And then on the opposite side, that's another crack that actually impacted my natural nail as it came off. So, shattering and chipping and cracking, it started out as a chip, but then it turned into a crack and then it just completely came off. And so, I'm basically showing you the difference between shattered nails and cracked nails, a little separation because I had cracked the corner of the nail, which then caused the nail to slightly separate from the dip application. And again, this can happen for a multitude of reasons. But most commonly, if you have just shattered, like a shattered top layer, and the base layer, meaning the dip powder layers, haven't been compromised, you can easily take a nail file or your e-file and you can file off that top coat, and providing that your dip powder has not been compromised. Like, see right here, you couldn't do that. See how that's a crack in the foundation of the dip layers. But if it hasn't, if you have no cracks, no compromising of the dip layers, you can literally just file off that top coat and put on another layer, repeat step 4, which is 2 layers of the top coat, and let that settle, set, and dry, and you should be good to go. In the event that you can't do that and you've compromised that nail and it's cracked there, then you're going to have to repair it. And I think I have some older videos that show you how to repair a crack in your nail, but I will definitely make an updated version of what that looks like. But again, I'm just trying to show you different, issues with my nails. And again, I try to be as transparent as possible. I too have, cracked nails and issues with shattering and stuff like that, especially if I am doing something very strenuous like moving boxes or prepping for inventory, or if I have 100 orders going out and I'm moving stuff from upstairs to downstairs, I'm going to damage my nails, especially if I didn't go in with the layers. So if you're new to my channel, I'm really big on layers and doing the a certain amount of layers for your lifestyle, for your activities, for your day to day. You may need 6 layers. You may need 3 layers, but it all depends on your day to day activities and what works best for you. Now, as I mentioned, if the dip powder has not been compromised, meaning there's not a crack, we're talking about shattering. I'm taking my file and I'm using the 100 side because I want to make sure that I get all of that top coat off. And I'm basically filing that off, sanding that off so that I can apply, if I wanted to, you can apply additional layers of top coat and it will be just fine. Now you see how I'm right there and I'm showing you. If you did not compromise those dip layers, you can literally just repaint that and that works. See how there's no compromising in the layers? It was just the top coat. You can polish over that, whether it's with your liquid, and or if you're using gel, you can do that as well. Make sure you file everything off and start with a new layer. But in this particular case, I'm going to basically show you how I sort of combat that sort of issue later on. And over here, similar to the my thumb, again, a crack means that the strength, the integrity of the nail was not strong enough to withstand whatever it was that I was trying to do. So you can go and like, let's say if you're grabbing someone or grabbing a small kid, so that they don't fall down the steps, because you're going in with such such a high amount of force to grab that person or to grab that child back, and you're grabbing that fabric, you're going to probably compromise your nails to some degree. So let's jump into the tutorial. I'm going to be using Studio Flat, which is a pink shade. As you see there, I have my clear dip powder. I have steps 1, 2, and 3. I also have step 4, which is the top coat. So I'm going to have the primer, step 1. I'm going to have the base coat, step 2. The bond, which is step 3. And the top coat, which is step 4. But we're going to do a little twist with that. I'm going to show you a new technique that I've been working on and I've been loving as of late. And it really has removed the shattering pattern that I see on my nails. And as a result of that, I wanted to share that with you guys today. So all I'm doing is wiping off my nails. I did a dry manicure before I did this particular video, and I think I just uploaded that video. So if you haven't, go back and watch that video because it does show you my steps in doing my dry manicure. And what I'm going to do, I just used a lint-free wipe with some alcohol, wiped my nails off, and now I'm going in with the primer. Now that we've done that, I'm going to grab my powders, starting with the clear dip powder. I'm going to make sure that I swirl that around, shake that up a little bit, and I'm going to grab step number 2, which is the base coat. And I'm also going to make sure that I grab my dust brush. It's important that you have your station set up as you're working with your products because we go pretty quick when you're doing a dip application, and sometimes if things are not at the ready, like in your arm's reach, that could impact your dip manicure because now things have settled and then you have to go back in and correct things. So I try to make sure that I have everything within arm's reach so that I can make my dip application go a lot smoother and a lot quicker. So starting out with the clear dip powder, I love creating and building up my apex, and this is how you do it. You start with a half layer of clear dip powder, avoiding the side walls and making sure that you sweep the free edge, the free edge. And you do this for all 10 fingers. And again, if you have flat nails or if your nails are concaved, then you may want to add, instead of doing 1 layer, you may want to add 2 layers just to help elevate and add the height needed to get that curvature that you're looking for. I have a subscriber that commented on me doing a tips, or if I could do a ski lift tutorial, because I believe she has ski lift nails, and so I'm going to be doing that in the next couple of weeks. So what I like to do once I've done that is, again, I do all 10 fingers, and I'm basically showing you here just the difference between finger number, the middle finger and my pointer finger. The middle finger, I put my finger in the powder and pulled it right back out, maybe kept it in for maybe a second or two. Whereas though the pointer finger, I held that in the powder for about 10 seconds. And you can see that there's definitely a difference. It's thicker, definitely thicker. You can see that there's more powder there because the powder had an opportunity to really bond with the liquid on my finger. That to me is one of the steps that will help you build up the integrity of your nails. Don't just dip your finger into your powder really quickly. Dip it in there, let it sit there for 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 8 seconds or so, and then pull it out. Again, it will definitely change the consistency. It's going to give you a little bit more strength, and I think you'll like the results. And this might help minimize the thinness that you're experiencing, because ultimately, when your nails are cracking and or if they're shattering, that's because you don't have enough layers. So you have to play with what layers work best for you. I say this a lot in my videos. It's all about your layer preference and the activities that you do day to day. So as I go through and move on to the color powder, I am going to go a little bit above where I started my half dip layer, and I am going to stick my finger into the powder. As I stick my finger into the powder, I'm showing you guys the difference between sticking it in, pulling it right back out, and you can see it's not as dark as the previous clip. Still powder there, but you may have to add more layers. Whereas if you hold your finger in the powder for a couple of seconds, and again, you want to dip your finger in at an angle. If you struggle with that, do what I'm doing here. I grab the powder, the container, I tilt it at an angle, and then I stick my finger in. It basically tricks the air pockets in the powder so that you're not creating ripples. And as you see there, as I'm pulling it out, I let that powder sit. Look at the difference. You can definitely see the thickness. It's two different examples. When you pull it in, pull it out really quick, thin layers. You let that powder sit there for a minute. Let that powder get absorbed into that liquid. It's going to make the strength of your nails stronger, and thus reducing the shattering effect and cracking effect. We're going to repeat these steps on all 10 fingers. So now that we've done our entire hand, let's just dust everything off, and we're going to start applying additional layers. Layers are based on preferences. It's no different than when you go to uh, Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. You may get black coffee. Someone may get coffee, cream, and sugar. Somebody may get extra caramel, extra sugar, um, extra cream in their coffee. It's their preference. It's what they like. It's what they want. Dip nails, similar to that, is based on preference. So if if your activities require that you can wear 3 layers and you're good with that, you experience no cracking, no shattering, no nothing, then that's your sweet spot. But if you tried that and it didn't work, add another layer. If you added another layer and it still didn't work, add another layer. If you add another layer and it worked and you notice, hey, it worked for about a week, and then a week, going into week 2, I'm noticing there's a little activity where some cracking, some shattering, something like that, then add one more layer. Take it to 5. Find that sweet spot that works for you. And also, Make sure you're always sweeping your free edge. Make sure you're applying enough product to the side walls. Make sure that you're not flooding your cuticle area, and allow the powder to set so that it can properly pair with the base coat. Now I think I'm somewhere around maybe 3, 4 layers in, and I wanted you to see this. It's not overly thick, it's nothing that's not manageable, but you want to add the layers so that your nails are performing at the rate that you need them to perform at. That's pretty much all it really means. I mean, to be completely honest with you, if you need 4 layers and you're good there, by all means stop. But if you have tried 4 and 4 doesn't work for you, then go to 5. If you know that 5 doesn't work for you, then go to 6. True fact. In November and December, usually around the holiday season, when I know sales are going up, people are ordering kits, I'm, shipping packages out, I'm going up and down, putting up trees, doing all this other stuff. I myself have to go to 6 layers. And I go to 6 layers because I need that integrity. I need that strength because I'm going to put my hands through the ringer. I'm going to be over here. I'm going to be over there. And I know this. It's tried and true. I've already tested that. If I go in with 3 layers of dip powder and, try to move some boxes around, or if you have a little kid, or if you're like me, I often hit my hand as I'm walking, in and out of my office. You want to make sure that you have enough layers and let that powder sit and pair with the base coat. Now that we've done all of our layers, we're going to jump into our final layer where I am going to apply the clear dip powder. And you always want to apply the clear dip powder if you're not doing that currently, because what the clear powder does is that it seals in the pigment. It provides a barrier between the pigment. Sometimes, if especially if you've done dip for a minute, if you don't apply the clear, you can actually foul off the pigment. And sometimes, depending on like the base color, if the base color is based on a clear, that pigment could be fouled off. If the base color is based on a white base, then you can foul the color off, and it will basically turn your nails white, or something of that nature. So you kind of always want to make sure that you're applying the clear dip powder, and notice how I'm holding my finger in there so it can properly pair. Now we're going to dust everything off, and we're going to grab step number 3. Step number 3 is the bond. This is what is going to start the curing process for your dip powder. In addition to that, it is going to penetrate. The goal is to penetrate the layers and really, really harden those layers, even as far down as it can go. So I like to really saturate my fingers with the bond, to ensure that my nails are getting hard. They're starting to really, really stiffen, and as a result of that, I let everything dry down, and then I will initiate the filing shaping process. Now, off camera, I did my right hand. That's why I took the glove off. I did my right hand. And now I'm going to finalize my left hand, and I'm just showing you what those end results sort of look like. This is pre-filing, pre-shaping, no etching has been done. It's just literally the dip application paired with the bond. I let it sit, and now we're going to go in and smooth out some of that texture. We're going to create the shape, the desired shape that I'm looking for, and we're going to make sure that everything is nice and smooth, and it's edged out. If you're new to my channel, I'm a big advocate for utilizing your hand, using your thumb as a stand or as a base to help you really work around your finger. Your hands, your fingers, they know each other. They're intimate with one another. And so they will, in many cases, your body will naturally go into a position that is most comfortable for it. Also, allowing you the flexibility of being able to really shape and maneuver around your finger and your nail to get the desired shape when you use like your thumb, or if you use the finger next to it. Sometimes if you position it, you can use it as an anchor, as a stop, and it will really help if you struggle with that. Also, if you want, you can actually put your nail on your station, your desk, whatever you're using to do your dip application. And as long as it's stable, you can use it to also assist you in stabilizing the hand so that you can actually start the shaping process, because again, you're going to be doing a lot of moving and filing and buffing and things of that nature. So when you're doing that, you want to make sure that the surface and the station that you have is steady, so you don't accidentally cut yourself or accidentally overextend or overshape or overfile, because the way that the table is set up is somewhat uneven, and that can happen to people. So what I like to do is I like to take my time shaping my nails. I like to look at my nails from all angles. I want to look at it dead on. I want to flip it to the side and look at it. I want to see what someone else would see if they were sitting across from me and looking at my nails. I want to look at my nails dead on, dead center, so I can see if there any texture, any little, areas that I need to buff out and file off or smooth out. And so I do things in phases. So I like to start around the perimeter first. Then I like to make sure that I'm tapering my nails and bringing that inward. Then after I taper, I usually go around the cuticle area to clean that up. And then I finish everything off with the free edge and making sure that that's straight. And I don't want to file off too much product. I'm going in and using the 180 side. I am a fan of 180. I find that it doesn't take off too much product. Like, you really have to work to take off a lot of product. And that's good for someone who may be heavy handed or someone who may be somewhat nervous if this is their first application around taking off too much powder. You don't want to go in with a 100 side just yet, unless you have a lot of ripples, unless you have really, really, really thick layers and you need to file some of that down. Outside of that, I'm only using the 180 side to do my cleanup, and I find that this is the best sanding grit number that really gives me the look that I want, especially if you're not utilizing an e-file. If you're using an e-file, they have sanding bits and sanding bands that you can use that range in size, everything down from a 90 all the way up to like a 240. The higher the number, the softer the grit, which means that, again, you're not able to take off as much. The lower the number, the coarser the grit. And that means that you're going to be able to take off a lot of product and even skin. And you can also injure yourself. So that's why I typically don't go past 100. I do have some bits in here that are in the 80 and the 90 range, but that's for filing off like hard acrylic or any type of embellishments that I may have on my nails usually. So again, 180, that works. And I'm showing you dead on. See my nail? No chiclet. It's what I'm looking for. That tapered look. It's not too thick over here. It's not too lumpy. Again, if you see any small lumps there, you'll sand that out. You'll buff that out. But you really, really, really want to take your time and see how I'm going, in one direction. I'm doing that on purpose because I find that it definitely works, and it aids in your ability to get a professional look. Taking your time, going around that cuticle line, and you don't want to take off too much from the free edge as you're filing down. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you take off too much product because you're trying to get your tip extra, extra thin, you guessed. You're not going to be able to, the strength is gone. You file that off. You've buffed that off. You don't want to buff it off so much so that you don't have the integrity there, because now you're chipping your nails and you're getting away. You're chipping your nails and you're getting away from the initial intent, which is to provide an overlay, additional strength, added strength, so that you can have this beautiful dip manicure. Now that everything is all filed, let's grab our buffer. Make sure you're changing out your buffer. I would say I normally change out my buffer every, I can probably get 10 applications using one buffer before I need to get a new one, and or grab a new one. So you want to make sure that you have additional buffers on standby when you're doing your dip nails, and additional files, because you can tend to go through them if this is something that you're doing on a weekly or um, bi-monthly basis. Don't forget when you're buffing your nails to buff the free edge, to buff the entire nail. And I like to spend about 30 seconds on each nail just to make sure that I'm getting that smooth look, the professional look, and it really does minimize that texture that you see, because you want your nails to look like that salon, that high-end salon finish. And sometimes if you're not buffing your nails, this is why your nails are not giving that like high class, high salon look, because you're bypassing that step. Now that everything is all buffed, I'm going to grab a cotton wipe and some alcohol. I'm going to wipe my nails down with that. I do this as a QA, as a QA QC check, just to check the integrity of the shaping process that I just went through. Because sometimes when things are powdered and it has like that texture to it and the dust element, you can't really see what the final look is going to look like. So I like to semi wet it with some alcohol, knowing that it's going to evaporate, just so I can see what my nails would look like in the event that I had top coat on. This is like the final step before you move on to either your top coat using the traditional liquid or your top coat gel. So I'm going to go and wash my nails, and I'll be right back. Now I washed my hands with soap and water. I'm back. I'm grabbing a lint-free wipe as well as a micro Q-tip. I'm going to spray them both down with some alcohol, and I'm going to take that little micro Q-tip and I'm going to use that to go around the cuticle area and the side walls. And I'm doing that because I want to make sure that I remove any debris, any dust particles that I may have missed in the rinsing washing process. And then I'm going to take that lint-free wipe and I'm going to wipe my nails down. This is just an extra step that I like to do. It's not required, but I like doing it. I find that sometimes when you don't do this, you can get extra debris, and that debris can be seen or visible on your final layers when you're adding your top coat, regardless of whether or not it's the traditional way or using gel. So I just like to make sure I'm just doing an extra step to get everything off my hand. Now, my ring finger and my pinky finger, I applied the top coat, step number 4, and I did that twice. Excuse me. I painted on 2 layers. But now, let me jump into the new process. The new process is I'm using my base coat and my top glaze. And the base coat is a lovely consistency. When I say lovely, it is really, really nice. It's a nice consistency, and I am going to paint my nails with this, the 3 nails that I have, because I was testing this out. And I must say, I tested this out for about 2 weeks, and I had no cracking. I had no shattering. I had nothing, no chips. I had literally nothing. My nails held on. The strength and integrity remained intact. I was surprised at the way that the gel base and the gel top coat, the gel glaze, how it performed. I'm going to stick my hand in a lamp for 60 seconds, and I'll be right back. now that we've cured our base coat, I'm gonna now go in, and this is the base coat gel, the gel base coat. Let me clarify that. I'm now going in with the top coat, the glaze, my gel glaze coat. This is going to give you that high shine. This is what I have on the other hand, the hand, my dominant hand, which is my right hand. I completed that hand, and every finger has on the gel polish. So I did that already. But I find that when I use the two gel products that you're seeing here on my nails, I had zero shattering. None. No cracks. I had no breaks, no chips. I had nothing. My nails did extremely well. And the glaze gel top coat, I find provides a little bit more strength than the traditional liquid top coat that comes with your traditional dip kit or dip box. So I prefer now to use the gel top coat on my nails at the end. That's going to be like my new thing. And yeah, I love the way that the results. I was very surprised that the nails just did not have any type of issues, no shattering, no nothing. So if you haven't already, by the time this video goes up, um, the gel polish will be here, and I will have it up on the website by, I want to say, the 23rd of August. It will be available for purchase on the 23rd of August. So I'm putting this video up so you guys can sort of see the process. And again, I'm just tapping my nails just to show you. Oh, and also the gel top glaze, it's no wipe. So as soon as you pull your nails off from under the lamp, you don't have that sticky residue. That is gone. It doesn't exist. It's literally like I'm so stoked. Like, this gel is just so good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back with some more tutorials, more videos. As always, until we meet again, keep dipping.